All right, cool. Lesson 17. Inference for one proportion. All right. Do you guys understand the preparation?
Maybe.
Were there any questions on the preparation?
If I have any, they'll probably come up during the quiz.
All right, well, let's just dive right into it. Isn't it just normal P?
Yeah, that first one.
Because p hat is the sample proportion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And wait, is P hat the one with the line, or is it the upside down V?
It's like that little triangle thingy.
It's like a hat.
Yeah, oh, of course, P hat. Looks like a hat.
The other one's like an enye. I think that's a Spanish symbol.
Mm-hmm.
It's an umlaut. Is that what it's called?
I think an umlaut is the two dots.
Yeah, that's probably right. Anyways.
I could be wrong.
It wasn't in the lesson, was it?
What?
The first one?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't see it. Okay, so for the next two questions, suppose n equals 100, p equals 0.25, and p hat equals 0.1. The requirements for constructing a confidence interval are satisfied.
So... So for this one, to check that they're satisfied, we use P. We don't use P hat, correct?
For number 4, I think you use P hat.
You do?
Let me check again. I was just looking at it.
Because that's something that confused me in the lesson, I think.
Let's see.
So in the lesson, it shows P hat.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't have P hat, do you just use P?
No. You would have to do x divided by n to get the p hat, because the p and the p hat aren't the same, but the p is the mean of p hat, because that's the one we got wrong on the last test or the last group quiz.
Let's see.
So they are satisfied, right?
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Both of them. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Conducting a hypothesis.
For a hypothesis test. Aren't they the same requirements for a hypothesis test and a confidence interval, or are they different?
That's what I thought, and I've been going through the lesson, and those are the only requirements that it has.
Okay.
I think it's both true.
Oh yeah. Wait. So for the hypothesis test, it just has P. But for the confidence interval test, that's where it has P hat. So in 2.1
Wow. Okay.
is the confidence interval. And then in 3. It's step 4 under 3.1 or 4.1.
Oh. Okay. Well, if you use P or P hat with the requirement tests, they both come out equal to or greater than 10.
Yeah.
Okay. The next one is a study of first-degree murder trials was conducted in another state. A random sample of 60 people on trial for first-degree murder was taken. Of these, 45 of the defendants were found guilty. Find P hat, the point estimate of the proportion of first-degree murder defendants who are found guilty in the state. Isn't that just 45 divided by 60?
I think so.
And I got 0.75. First round of 3 decimal places. Do I just add a 0?
What'd you get?
45 divided by 60, and I got 0.75.
Okay, that's what I thought you got. I was like, I thought I heard something else, and I was like, oh. And number 5 was true still, right?
Yes.
Okay.
They were both true.
All right, just making sure. Determine margin of error for this 95% confidence interval.
So,
With the null hypothesis in Excel, would we put that in?
does this give us enough or to put into? Oh wait, you don't need to know the hypothesis, the null hypothesis for the confidence interval. I don't think.
Okay, it shouldn't change anything.
I don't think so.
No, it doesn't. Okay. The margin of error. At 0.11. But I'm not entirely sure that I went about the right way to find that. I just took 0.860 minus 0.640 and divided that by 2. And again, it says round to 3 decimal places, so now I feel like I'm missing something. But those other numbers aren't rounded to 3 decimal places because they had zeros behind them. I mean, they were, but they just added a 0.
So I'm just kind of confused because it has where it talks about creating a confidence interval for those with the verdict is guilty. And like why that is emphasized so much in the question.
Right.
Because the equation for the margin of error is the z-score times the square root of p times 1 minus p over n. And I would assume that p would be 0.5 because it's guilty or not guilty. But I could totally be wrong. No, it's p hat. What did I just write? What did you get, Leah?
Got 0.110.
Okay, that is what I got as well, actually.
For the margin of error?
Yeah, because so if you do the calculation out, you get 0.1095,
Right.
which would round to 0.11.
Okay. But what if we are rounding to 3 decimal places?
If it's so the full number is 0.109567.
So it would be
It would be
0.11 anyway.
Yep.
Okay. There was a question like that either on the, I think it was on the homework for the last lesson, and I have to look it up because it came out the same, it was the same thing.
Uh-huh.
Right.
And I just got so confused, like, oh no, that's not 3 decimal places, like that's only 2. And anyway, those are really confusing for me.
They are confusing.
So that means that question 8 would be 0.640.
Yeah.
Okay. If you increase the sample size from 60 to 80, what do you expect to happen with the width of the confidence interval?
What was the upper bound? I'm sorry.
I got, hold on, 0.860.
Oh, right. Of course. Yeah.
And then for the next one,
It increases, doesn't it?
well, if you could just put 80 in there, right?
Yeah.
When I put an 80, it decreases. Wait, the width of the confidence interval.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. It just slightly decreases, but it's like so close that it could stay the same. I think it just depends on how you round. So, like both of the confidence intervals decreased, but the space between them is, like, the margin of error after changing it is 0.1085 instead of 95. So if you didn't round it, it would increase by a small amount. But if you did round it, it would stay the same.
Yeah.
Maybe we should try a different number. So it does, I put in 100 just because, and it decreased.
Did it?
Yes. Except I mean, of course, it's greater than when it was 60.
I thought I remembered from like the other lessons that when you increase the sample size that it increases the width, but that might be different for proportions.
Yeah, because for the proportion, like, it's still going to be 45 out of 80, but wouldn't that still change something? Happens at the margin variance. Okay.
So if you increase the sample size, the width of the confidence interval decreases, right? Isn't that?
Well, in the book, it says what happens to the margin of error in a confidence interval if the sample size is increased, which is what we're doing. And it says if you can reduce the margin of error by increasing the sample size, then you can achieve a specific margin of error by choosing a large enough sample. So I don't know if that really answers our question. And that was under part 3 in the lesson.
So I did 0.86 minus 0.64, that equals 0.22. And then I did 0.671 minus 0.454, that equals 0.217. So again, if we round, they're the same. If not, it decreases it very slightly.
I think it's decrease.
Yeah, because when we put 100 for n, that went down a noticeable amount.
Right.
I bet they picked 80 on purpose because they knew we would second guess ourselves.
To conduct a hypothesis test for one proportion, 2 requirements must be met. Suppose p equals 1/2 or half. What is the smallest n can be and both requirements still met?
So if it was me, I would say 20. N would have to be 20 But I missed this on the homework assignment because it asked something else. It asked if p hat was 4 over 5, like 4/5. And I put like 12.5 as a sample size, which I don't know if that was right. So the next I got it wrong and rounded it up to 13, and then I still got it wrong. So I would say 20, but I don't know if there's something I missed that says it has to be done a special way when you're dealing with fractions.
So don't they have to be above 10? Like, I mean,
Equal to or above.
right.
So if we did 20, and I just did the second test, like maybe 20 times 1 minus a half, and that still equals 10. So they both come out 10 with 20.
I would say 20 is good.
Okay, so for the next one, it's the same question, but it's 1 over 10. And I got 100 for the next one.
Yep, 100 works as well.
Yeah, I think 100.
Okay, so for the next problems 13 and 14, I put that the conditions are true for the hypothesis test, and I used the 0.6. Was that the right thing to do?
That's what I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then for the p hat, I just looked at the Excel sheet and saw 0.475. Okay. And the test statistic, isn't that the z-score?
Yes.
Yeah.
Negative 2.282.
Yep.
Awesome. P-value is 0.011.
Oh, it's less than. It's less than. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I have 0.989.
What is the decision for this test?
If the p is low, reject the null.
Which of the following best summarizes the conclusion of this test?
There is sufficient evidence to conclude that the water quality in the area has decreased.
We good then?
What?
We good to submit then?
I think so.
$19 out of 19. 100%.
For 18, did you do there is sufficient evidence to conclude the water quality in the area has decreased?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they all end. Well, yeah, decreased. All right. I know they all end with the word decreased, but some of them end with not decreased. But yes, it has.
Okay.
It has.
I really don't like those 0.5 points because every time I scroll through the test and see that 0.5, I always think we got it wrong. Like that one time you looked at
Yeah.
the 3 problems and could not figure out how they were wrong. We had 0.5 out of 0.5.
Great.
Awesome. Is that all we had to do tonight?
Well, we also have the
Oh, yeah.
determine the study thing.
Okay. So I just had thoughts come into my head, and it's just, a couple of them were, does exercise impact levels of stress someone feels? And then in my psychology class today, we did meditation 15 minutes before we started our class. Like, it was nice. So then I thought, does meditation reduce stress levels for people?
What psych are you in?
Psych 111 with Brother Besant.
Because that would be great. I would love to do some meditation.
Really nice. We all got into class today, and he said, "Okay, I need you guys to put all your stuff away." And then we sat there, and he said, "Close your eyes, focus on your breathing." And it was really good. Except people kept coming in late, so but I won't complain. Okay, so Josh talked about counseling, doing different things regarding, what was it, like, are people in the church more likely to turn to counseling?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. That'd be kind of a cool one to do. Okay. So, list. Okay, I just need to list the names. When we sign our names on here, is that, like, can I do that for everyone and it counts? Or, like, we don't have to do those virtual signatures or anything, right?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
It's kind of like scary because it says both academically and legally. So it's like, but I think since it's, an online class and we are like, together and giving you permission, I think it's fine. Because this is recorded too, so.
That's true.
So what research question do we want to go with? The therapy or the exercise?
I was thinking about food. I was eating a bowl of cornflakes and I thought, are cornflakes or Rice Krispies more popular? Like, which one do people like more? Like the plain cereals. So
Right.
maybe people like either of them.
And that's like, that's just a one question. Oh, I guess all of these are kind of one question surveys, but.
Josh, have you ever put a survey together? Have you ever done this?
I have not.
Jared, have you?
No.
Okay.
Have you?
For everyone. I haven't. I've taken the surveys that they've sent out.
Survey Monkey survey maker.
There's like students send out surveys for their projects sometimes.
Yeah.
To other students on the school email. So I wonder if we could do something like that and then post, like I could post it on my Facebook and get more of a, like maybe even get non-members if anyone decides to look at it.
So on Google, the Google Docs, they actually do have a form. They have a questionnaire thing that you can make for free.
Okay.
And so I think that could work, because I think with like SurveyMonkey, which I've seen that around, like that's what a lot of people have used. You have to like sign up, but I mean,
Okay.
a lot of us already have Google accounts, so it's not like.
Okay. Well, if we do we want to do the counseling one?
I'm fine with whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I am too, so. It's up to you.
We can be like, I don't know, we can be serious about this and do research, or I could totally do something with food that would be simple and not take a whole lot of time and be easy to collect the data and everything.
Yeah, because I don't know. Oh, jeez.
I just wonder how in depth he expects us to go.
I know. I think what he wants is, I mean, are there 1,000 chips in every bag of Chips Ahoy?
That's
like
true.
it isn't a deep question.
Yeah.
And then they talked about the bookstore prices, and it's complex as someone is walking, like someone more likely to walk on the grass.
Right.
While if they were walking behind someone else who walks on the grass.
I don't think it, like. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was done. I was just saying there's a variety.
Right. I don't think it like the question necessarily matters, as long as we, do all the actual statistics part.
I think he just wants us to apply what we've learned.
Right. So I think any question, really, I mean, if it's a serious question like counseling, or if it's, a food question, I don't really think it matters.
Are bananas more likely to go darker faster if they're in the dark, or if they're in the light, or if they're warm temperatures or dark, like cold temperatures? That's something I could use because I've tried putting my bananas on the table and putting them back in the pantry. Anyway, I'm like trying to think of things that I would want to know.
Like, I think the one that I thought of the other day it's interesting, but I feel like it could get complicated.
Yeah.
But I thought that, we could simplify it. Instead of doing like members of the church, we could ask like 3 questions. We could be like, are you a boy or a girl? Have you ever seen someone have you ever seen a mental health professional? And then we could do, for the last one, it could be like, in the future, would you ever see a mental health professional, or something like that? And that could be the whole survey to compare whether or not boys or girls are more likely a mental health professional.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that is. And I mean, it is like interesting. It's an interesting survey too. That I would be.
I don't know. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
I don't know if it would get too complicated, because they've had surveys like that before. Like in our readings, not like about counseling, but about different things that are the same setup. So we could, if we want, we could do that. Our research question would be, would it be our boys Would it be, are girls more likely to, hold on, are boys or girls more likely to see a mental health professional?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm making the survey right now, just like
Okay.
I'm just kind of messing around with it. Do we just want to keep male and female, or do we like, because it's 2018, so there's a lot of like people that don't identify as male or female. Should we add a prefer not to? Well, I mean,
No, it's
I
okay, but
understand.
I have thoughts about this, and
Yeah,
it's okay.
I
need
do,
to take class.
but as to not like, I don't know.
I think for the study, we should just keep it males or females,
Okay.
and if they get offended by it, they don't have to take it.
Right. Okay.
So
just making sure, I just.
yeah. Well, the only other thing would be an other, but we better keep it simple because I'm afraid if we add an other,
I agree.
It'll kind of like mess up the. Yeah.
What population are we studying? Do we want there to be an age group? Like anyone 18 and older? Or 21 and older? 20?
Yeah, we could just do like college students in general.
So would we just be taking samples from BYU, Idaho?
We could do that, but we could also like post it on Facebook and say like, hey, friends that are attending school right now, take this quick survey or something like that.
Okay, so college students from various colleges. Is the college they attend going to affect the study, or are we just looking at males and females?
I would say let's just look at males and females to keep it simple.
Yeah.
So do I have to say that in a full sentence? What population are you studying? College students. The experimental unit, in other words, what is the smallest entity from which you are collecting a single piece of data to be used for analysis?
What?
What does that mean? What is your experimental unit? In other words, what is the smallest entity from which you are collecting a single piece of data to be used for analysis?
An individual?
That's what I was thinking too.
Like I just looked up the term experimental unit, and it says that it's commonly is an individual animal. So I feel like it'd just be one person. Yeah.
Okay, I'll put one individual. The response variable is not the. Is it the dependent or the independent?
I think that's the dependent.
That's what I was thinking. So the dependent variable is the one we're changing, so it would be the likelihood of, okay. Would it be male or female? Or would it be seeing like the likelihood of seeing a mental health professional? Okay, and the next question is your response variable quantitative or categorical? So that might help. What is the thing? It's asking what's the thing we're like changing? Okay, do we change the dependent variable or do we change the independent variable to see a change in the dependent variable? So the research question is, are males or females more likely to see a mental health professional?
Yes.
Do we need to alter our question to say, what do you think males or females would be more likely to go see a health professional, mental health professional? In my opinion, it would be females.
I agree.
Yeah, I
Okay.
also agree.
So do we need to change it to, are females more likely to see a mental health professional, or are females more likely than males to see a health professional? Because we are going to have to come up with a null and alternative hypothesis as well, so we need to have something to go for, and I guess we'll figure it out in the study.
Right.
Holy cow. Well, we can skip the response variable for now, and I can look into that. Which test from the methods that we have done would it be a categorical?
Yeah.
Test of two proportions?
I think so, because we're asking if,
Okay, so today we worked with the categorical test of one proportion, I believe.
Yeah.
So we have yet to do the two.
Which I'm sure is probably the next lesson. And it is. So if you actually go into the lesson 18 in the textbook, the first table that they have is kind of like what our like
Study is.
study is. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. I agree. So I do think that it would be the two proportions.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I can get the null and alternative hypotheses. What kind of sampling method will we be using? So it's a survey, and is it just going to be a simple, well, what kind of sampling method is that? Is it a simple random sample, or is it the one where you just take whoever will volunteer?
That is shoot, what's it called?
Is it the last one we learned about? Like it's the last in the list?
I think so.
That's what I can see it and I know what it says, like what the definition is, but I can't think of the word.
I think it starts with an S.
Stratified?
No.
No. I'm just. Oh.
Okay, so it says on here, please review the different data collection methods. Please note that the random samples can be difficult and another method may be easier to obtain. If you do not choose random sample, please describe in detail how you will to ensure the experimental units are randomly selected. Note, haphazard,
Haphazard, I think.
is that the one? So it's sampling where you try to create a random sample by, how'd you say it?
Haphazard?
Okay, yes, where you haphazardly, however you say that, choosing items in order to try and recreate true randomness.
Convenience sample.
Oh, because it's convenient.
Yeah. That's probably
Okay.
what I feel like we'll end up doing is convenience. So I don't think that we would be able to get a simple random for any of the other ones.
Right.
We would have to have access to pretty much all of the emails and everything.
Maybe we could talk to the school about it. I don't know what the board of research or whoever we have to send this thing into.
Yeah.
So we would be collecting a convenient sample through surveys. Okay, well, the next question says describe in specific detail how your group will collect data using the sampling method stated. So I guess I just have to state convenient sample or convenient sampling.
Yeah.
And it says also what sample sizes are you planning to obtain per population?
As many as will take the survey.
Well, we need at least 30, right?
Do we?
Well, I mean, that's a good sample size.
Yeah.
I'm sure we could get that,
Yeah.
especially if the survey is just 3 questions.
Yeah. I think so.
Okay. What are your projects involve human subjects?
Yes.
Yes.
Will you be conducting a survey? Yes.
Yes.
So I'm going to need a draft of the survey. Now, does that mean I just need to list the questions?
Yeah, I think so. So the
Okay.
3 questions, I have 3 questions on there. I have, are you a male or female? Have you ever met with a mental health counselor? And would you ever meet with a mental health counselor? Are those 3 good?
I think so. So Appendix A, it says there's more information on how to do the survey.
Okay. So we will have project approval once it's approved, but doesn't have to be approved before we send it in.
Yeah, so
Probably.
if you read question 16, right? Yeah, so it says,
oh yeah, you may register your project with the board. Yeah, so
So
once
right
it
now,
approves it, then we can.
then we can submit it to the university's human subject, and then once that's approved, we can
go
send
forward.
out. Yeah.
I'll just be aware that I'm signing everyone's name, that you won't conduct any surveys or anything before it's approved.
Sounds good.
I accept.
Huh.
Okay. I think I'll go through and just make sure that we have everything. But if I have any questions, I'll just text you.
Sounds good.
Yep. Sounds good.
Great.
Great.
Well,
I'll
let's
stop
get this
the
in this
process.
weekend.
All right.